Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Go Deep with Kat and Sarah. This is the third episode in a three-parter. And so we're looking at the master strategy of creation to be able to create whatever you want in your life. And the other two episodes, we looked at aspects of this that built up to the master strategy formula. So, do you want to know what the formula is, Kathleen?
I want to know what the formula is. Sure.
Well,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
thanks for asking. So, the first part is something you just want to do. So, I just want to do it. And the second part is that you don't have anything on it. And the third part is you do stuff to get it.
Little refresher for me. What
Yeah,
does it
well, for
mean?
everybody.
Yeah, to not have something on it. Okay, like assuming that there's this pure want. I think we talked about that. You want something just because you do, and not as a means to get something else.
Yeah.
Right? You really want that thing. That thing. What does it mean to not have anything on it?
You don't have a lot of thinking on it. Um, you're not doing it because you think you should. Or maybe you're not, maybe it doesn't mean anything bad about you if you don't get it. Um, you're not really thinking hard about it, or there's not a lot of like, well, if I achieve this, it means I'm a good person. Or I'll show my dad that I really am worthy of love, or whatever things we put on stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. The more I look at that, the more I see where I think I'm clean and clear about something, and I'm not creating it, or I'm not moving forward in something, and I realize, oh, I've got all this muddled up thinking about the thing, or I think it has to come about a certain way, or I think it has to be, um, it has to be blue, but it turns out it's going to be yellow.
Yeah. Okay. So we did talk about you discover that you actually want the thing,
Mhm.
and then not having anything on it is you really want that thing, purely that thing, not other outcomes that you think are going to come by having that thing, right? I'm going to get the thing so that I can prove something to someone. I'm going to do this thing so that I can feel a certain way. No, it's really actually about creating, as you said in the beginning, right? Creating something you want. And it's the thing you want, not not any other stuff floating around it.
Yeah, and I guess also there's lots of other categories of stuff we might put on something, like maybe you don't believe it's possible, or um maybe you don't think you really can do it, but you're trying anyway. Um there's a huge variety of thinking
Yes.
there's so many varieties of thinking we might put on something. I'm going a little blank trying to think of them all.
Okay, so would you say then that not having anything on it means not having any thought other than the thing itself and the
Yeah,
next step to get it, the
yes,
action that might be required? In other words, any consideration in the mind of anything that doesn't relate to getting the thing, creating the thing, is having stuff on it.
yeah, I think so. I think that's a good way of putting it. So yeah, it sounds a little boring because it's just, well, I want this thing and this is the next step and I'm gonna do that and okay. And now this is the next step. Okay. And yeah,
Well, that's so funny. I mean, I'm laughing because boring, as if when we take our focus off the the next step and the next step and the next step, like, and we know it's not linear to get
yeah,
to cause this thing, to be a part of creating this thing, not implying that, but the very next thing, and that being boring. Well, it kind of reminds me of, you know, grabbing some buttered popcorn and sitting down at the movie or some drama on TV to watch something happening that's funny and entertaining, but you know maybe doesn't have anything to do with the character actually taking the next step and the next step and the next step to create what it is they're up to. So the drama, might look boring, but if we really want to create something, I don't know, it's fun though, right? The actual steps, the actual getting into action and doing the next thing, it can be fun. Some of it can be challenging, right? Some of the things that occur to us as the next step might be hard. It might be difficult. That's not boring, but telling stories about it, I guess. That could seem like fun, but are we really getting shit done when we do that? Like that's taking vital energy, I think, away from we could be creating.
yeah,
Except, but we're thinking about creating.
yeah. I had I had sort of saw this and um wrote that out when I became aware that the last three, four competitions I've done, weightlifting competitions, every time, maybe the last 3 or 4 years, um, there's where I want to go to a competition that I have to qualify for. So I have to lift a certain amount of weight. And it's usually just a little outside of what I think I'm capable of at the time I register for the competition. But it's not crazy. And then because it's a weight class sport, there's a weight category I'd like to be in. If I'm heavier, then I have to lift more weight, and that's outside of what I think I'm capable of. So 3 times in a row, it's like without really thinking about it, like I just sort of looked at it and decided, okay, yeah, I want to go to that competition. So I'm going to weigh this weight and I'm going to lift this much weight on April 24th or whatever date the qualifying competition was. And 3 or 4 times in a row, I weighed the exact weight that I wanted to the second decimal point, like 80.00 kilograms, which that's actually not easy to do to get the exact number.
Yeah.
It wasn't 100th of a kilogram lesser or over, it was exactly every time. And then I lifted the exact to the kilogram weight that I needed to qualify. And it was looking really interesting. Okay, if I can do that there, then I can do that in other areas. Maybe I want to have a yearly income that's a certain amount, or maybe I want to, I don't know, write a book and have a certain number of pages in the book. Or it doesn't have to be about numbers, but that just seemed to, I noticed that I was doing that and wondered, like, huh, I keep creating that. How did I do that? And it seemed like I just kind of wanted it, and it didn't matter if I failed, like if I didn't get those, nothing bad, I wasn't putting pressure on myself. I just wanted it. I didn't think too hard about it. I didn't put anything on it. And then I did stuff. So it came to me, the intuition or the wisdom of, okay, you want to lose a certain amount of pounds in a certain amount of time. Okay, well, you're gonna have to eat plain, boring chicken and rice. Okay. Or and it just came to me, okay, well, do this, do this, do this. And I just did the things without really, I didn't complain about it, or, I didn't put anything on it. And then I did the training that would be needed, the days in the gym that would be needed for that. So it seems to be the formula.
So that's the third part. You do
Do
things,
stuff.
you do stuff.
Do stuff. And you don't have a lot of thinking about it, the what to do comes to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like I'm searching my little memory bank for an example, and one's not coming, but it also seems like sometimes there's not a lot of doing.
Might be.
I mean, usually there is. And maybe it doesn't, maybe because the doing can be so effortless that it just feels like you're in the flow. You're just kind of in the flow of life, like living through you.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like I didn't sit down and make a plan. I didn't really feel like I was doing anything, but it was when the exactness of those numbers with that particular thing got my attention. It's like, oh, huh. I aimed for that, and 4 times in a row I got it.
Yeah.
Huh. What if I aim for, because I'd like to write, I actually have 2 or 3 ideas for books. And I put on it that it's hard to write a book and that I can't be consistent. And that's what I'm putting on it. But with this formula, literally it would be, okay, I have the idea. Do I just want it? Yeah. I kind of, there is a little bit of thinking in there about like, oh, I'll look super important if I write a book. But I can get to where I'm clear about it. And then it looks so boringly obvious. Like, well, I just sit down and write a couple pages every day. Okay. Like, is it that simple? Yeah. And at some point you add it, and at some point you have enough that it's a book.
Yeah. How do you think people, like, if we hadn't shared this formula, how do you think people believe things get created?
How do I think people think? I'm just laughing at that. I don't know, Kathleen.
All
I
right.
well, no, but I mean
How
people
did you used to, like, maybe was there a
people
time
people have said.
you thought it worked differently than this? Was there ever a time when you didn't before you saw this? How did you think things got created?
2 different ways. Um, hard work and motivation and making yourself do things you don't want to do. And scaring yourself, you know, if I don't show up and go to work today, I'm going to go bankrupt or I'll lose my house, or the motivating yourself with pressure and fear. And the other way would be every now and then the stars align and God smiles down on you and you get an inspiration and something just comes through and you create it and it's super easy. But that's like, I used to think that was so far and few between, you couldn't rely on it. And you know, you had to do like chicken sacrifices or something.
Yeah, I fall into the former category of it takes hard work. There's a me that's gotta figure out a plan, that I'm in charge, I'm in control. If it's to be, it's up to me. And it's gonna take hard work and luck and lots of time. And isn't it interesting that your experience of achieving the personal body weight and lifting the amount of weight to qualify, like how that didn't entail, extensive planning and hard work and a ton of time. And yeah, you wanted it, right? You got pretty clear. You just kind of, you if there was any mental noise or thought happening, you didn't give it a lot of attention. Maybe it just wasn't even there. And then you did something, but it doesn't even see you didn't even talk about what you did because maybe you don't even remember what you did, but you did something. And it wasn't difficult. It didn't take a bunch of time. And then you got what you wanted.
Said it occurred to me, said another way, it's I aligned myself with the energy of life, listened to my wisdom, and did those things and settled around it. Didn't stay in an overthinking state. So flowed with life, figured out what I wanted. But that's also wisdom sort of brings you things like, hey, that'd be cool to do. Hey, let's do this. Yeah. I didn't make up thinking about it and I did stuff.
Well,
Ta-da.
kind of that kind of sums up the formula and such a great example.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was worth sharing because
Yeah.
people want to do stuff in an easier, more flowing, less pressure made way. Yeah.
Apparently there's a couple dogs that want to do something around here.
That's funny. Anything else coming to mind
Hey,
about creating?
not at the moment, Sarah Joy. No.
Yeah, just it's interesting. It looks really obvious to me, like just okay, go with the flow, do what comes next. Cool.
Yeah. And I think the don't have anything on it part is also really important.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the mind wants to come in, you know, whatever just to realize that that's oftentimes inconsequential.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just now remembering, or I did have different thoughts come, like, come and go. I was seeing like when there's audio, like an equalizer where the volume of audio goes up and down. So there was thinking, there was thoughts of, oh, I won't be able to lift enough by that date. If I'm at the gym and maybe that day the workout is not going as well as I'd like, because that happens. You have good days in the gym and lesser. I wouldn't call them bad days, but some days you're more on than others. And so I'd have thinking come up, but it just now it's occurring to me, I didn't believe it, or I didn't care. It didn't matter. Okay, that one day I thought that I might not lift the weight I needed to on the competition. Well, so it's not a problem. And so thinking of the phrase not putting anything on it, I didn't take my thinking and put it on the goal or on the like I saw it as just a fluctuation in my daily thought, feeling, and weather. It was just the weather of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, exactly. Always changing. Yeah, always changing.
I like that phrase actually. I'm writing it down. The
Well,
weather, the weather of the day.
the weather of the day
Hot
and
weather of
the
the day.
weather forecaster of the day, the unreliable narrator. like like the I mean, sorry if you know someone personally who happens to make their living as a weather forecaster. But the joke of like, oh, they get paid and how often are their predictions like entirely wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, well, where I live, the weather is very changeable. Like you know, it can be raining in the next half hour to be sunny and then gloomy and then like it's all over the place and it's extremely variable. Um, that said, a lot of people will get caught up in the weather, like, oh no, it's a gloomy day. But yeah, it just looks like, well, why would you get upset? Just wait 10 minutes, it'll be different. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with thought.
Yeah. But
Same
yeah,
with our motivation. Same with our feelings in any moment. Entirely subject to change. Definitely going to change.
yeah, just now it occurred to me that when I say don't put anything on it, I'm not meaning that you won't have gloomy thoughts. You're not going to have ups and downs of thought. It's just you're not buying into it. You're not putting it on anything.
No, earlier you literally like took your hands, right?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
it's not like you're taking that and going, okay,
taking
that means I can't do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take the thought and just like drop it right on the want. I want this thing, and then here's this thinking about that, and I'm not gonna pile it on top.
Yeah. I just didn't I see that my thinking doesn't mean anything. So it goes up and down and okay.
Yeah.
So if my thinking doesn't mean anything, then I don't have to um it's not like, oh, if I feel a little down, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym today if that was the plan, or I'm going to eat a cake if that wasn't the plan. Like my things I would do towards the goal stayed for the most part, like 90% what I wanted to do, because I wasn't being jerked around by the weather of the thoughts because I didn't buy into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't put anything on it. Yeah. Cool.
I know one thing that I want to say, I think it's really good to have a want and to engage with it and then just watch what the mind does, you know,
Mm.
especially if it's something that at some point we maybe had to believe like, well, I can't do that. That's not possible for me. Well, if you actually want it, like engage with the possibility of it. And then watch what the mind wants to come in, and an unreliable narrator comes in trying to rain on your parade. And that you can have that experience of the thinking arises, but it's entirely irrelevant. Doesn't The thought knows nothing about your unlimited potential and capability, right? And then I think we have the capacity to take action, even with, and you were kind of alluding to it, right? Even while that thinking mechanism is doing its thing. People think, "Well, we gotta stomp out that, we gotta replace that negative thinking with positive thinking. That's just more thinking. Just go
Mm.
do, just go do the thing." and and the thoughts can be there, right? And for me, I try to think of it as like, can I can I be with my thoughts and kind of relate to them as if they're kind of like white noise? Yeah, if I'm gonna go do a workout, I'd rather not have tinnitus in my ears or white you know what I mean, or whatever it is. I'd rather, but if it's there, so what? You know, when we realize what it is, then it doesn't have to have a influence over our ability to take the actions that move us toward creating that thing that we want. So I think it's just good. I think wanting something and then engaging with it and pointing yourself in that direction is a portal into seeing thought as an activity of our mind that has nothing to do with reality or who we are. And you get to really see that in the pursuit or in the activity of going about creating something you want for yourself. So I think wanting is good a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Two things occurred to me as you were talking. What really changed a lot for me around thinking was when I recognize it as something I'm creating, or recognizing it as thought or not real, then it changes it from something that I have to fix into like, well, that's just the weather, it goes up and down. But also when it's the second thing is, then it's common for people to judge our feelings as good or bad. And if there's no problem in feeling bad for a little while, okay, I'm getting rained on. So what? If it's not anything I have to fix because I know it's going to flow through, then it actually diminishes it a whole lot in the trying to change how we feel because we don't want to feel bad. That freezes it's like we never take our eyes off the bad feeling. And all we want to do is change it because, oh no, I just want to feel good. It's literally, I think, that judgment of good, bad that we're putting on something that's just neutral that then keeps it there. And then we're caught up in that. We're not actually taking steps towards what we actually want. And we're putting all kinds of things on it. Yeah. If we can experience any experience, it's freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. Like whatever thought, whatever feeling arises, like we can just that is that is reality. That is what's happening. And we have all the capacity to feel whatever. Yeah, and I don't even like the good bad thing because it's just what is. How the
Yeah.
heck? How the heck? How how can a mind that's I don't think the mind is capable of knowing what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
There's just what is right now.
Yeah. When I stopped trying to change my feelings, they changed.
Yeah. Oh, I just heard a quote along those. Oh, darn it. I even wrote it down somewhere. Oh, well, it's not coming to me. The second half was, oh, I think the first half was something like, stop trying to feel better. Just get better at feeling.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Well,
agree.
should we wrap it up and think about something we want and get at the business of creating it until we record next week?
Sounds good. Thank you for joining us for We Go Deep with Kat and Sarah. We'll talk to you next time.
Talk,
Bye.
talk to you next time. Bye bye.